I don't want him back. I'm in a new happy relationship, but I can't get him off my mind. Advice on not doubting yourself and your self-worth after a breakup. How can I heal without closure? We broke up months ago and haven't talked since.
And I pull down like namaste. No, you just do it with one hand.
Oh.
This is powerful. One hand, that's it, you're grounded.
Killed it. Hi guys, welcome to or back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Joy, and today I'm joined with a very special guest, my mother. Mum has been on the channel before, and you guys really love our videos together, and we love filming together. For those of you who don't know, Mum is actually a couple therapist. So the last video we did, we just gave advice on relationships, and I was blown away. I definitely learned a lot from our last video, and I know a lot of you guys really found it helpful and soothing and comforting. So I guess that's just what we hope this video will be. But today we're specifically talking about breakups, which, I mean, suck. Every person and every relationship is so different, and yeah, we can't tell you what is right or what is wrong or what you should do. So this is more so just like, you know, us giving you a hug, because it's confusing and it's hard. Even if you are happy afterwards, sometimes feeling happy can feel weird, and that's hard, you know?
Yes.
Fun fact, Mum actually hates chamomile tea, like with a passion. Where is my phone?
Chamomile tea and onions. It's over there.
Yeah, and onions. Who is this woman? How is she my mother? How to remain friends with the person after the breakup.
It can be pretty challenging, because you're changing the agreement of your relationship, and even though, you know, intellectually you get it, somehow your body many times doesn't catch up, or one of you does and one of you doesn't, and then it becomes really confusing. It's a beautiful goal to have, and some people can stay friends after a breakup, and sometimes it's harder than you think.
And also I think something that I've really realized is that it just takes time. If that's really what you want, you might have to wait those 4 years, and that might seem like a really long time, but like
it's like having a cooling time. So you actually you adjust to the new agreement in your relationship, and sometimes you need to actually have a new partner, and your ex have a new relationship, and go through that, which can be also really challenging, and then actually find the friendship again.
Completely. How to overcome feeling ashamed and guilty for the thing that happened in the relationship.
Yeah.
We had a few of those that were just like, I feel so guilty about things that happened within the relationship now that it's like over.
Yeah. So interesting, you know, shame and guilt. And I love Brene Brown's work on shame and guilt, where shame is about who I am and guilt is about what I did. So I think shame is not very helpful. It's not very constructive. But guilt, sometimes, unfortunately, there is appropriate guilt. Yeah. And, you know, with appropriate guilt, there is growth. That means you recognize something that you did and you could have done differently. Yeah. So getting really clear on that, and actually, you know, finding an opportunity to communicate that. It could be a letter that you sent the other person. It could be, you know, just actually bringing that level of awareness and asking for forgiveness. Really taking responsibility on your part.
Do you recommend people to reach out to the person? Do you think there is some sort of...
Sometimes there is a readiness. If you can really stand in a place where you're not defensive, when it's not, I did that, but it's because you... But you can really stand, in all honesty, in the part of you that takes responsibility for your part. Yeah. And you can get really clear on that and say, this is a part I actually want to ask your forgiveness for, and I'm sorry, and if I could have done this differently, I would. And I think that's actually very healing and could be very significant for the other person to receive it. They may, you know, still need to process their hurt, but it is actually very freeing. and can hold a lot of value. So if you have that sense that you might be able to do that, I think it can go a long way.
Is it normal to not be upset after breaking up with your boyfriend of 5 years?
Many times you process the separation way before you actually separate. Somehow you already know it for quite a while, especially you're saying, you're together for 5 years. And so maybe there is a part of you that's already left the relationship a while back.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes you can feel relief. Sometimes you can actually detach from your feelings and only check in with what was going on, 10 years down the track.
Yeah.
That's also possible. But everything is in a way built in order to keep you whole, to keep you safe. So whatever you're feeling at the moment, you're feeling it. Even if you're feeling nothing, even if you're feeling numbness, even if you're feeling relief, even if you're feeling grief, everything is normal. Everything is just a way for you to get in touch with yourself.
Advice on not doubting yourself and your self-worth after a breakup.
It's so natural to feel doubt in yourself after a breakup because you are experiencing a sense of rejection, and that would chew into your self-esteem. So being really kind to yourself, it's a natural feeling. Doing as much as you can do in order to regain that confidence, nurturing yourself, loving yourself, tending to your needs, reaching out, for connection from other places, so that will reassure you as a person.
So true.
Building your social web again. So you're starting to fill yourself up. So really knowing that it's a transition point and that these emotions are very, very natural.
It's harder said than done, but really talking to yourself kindly. And when you hear these kind of devilish voices in your head,
I'm not good,
I wasn't good enough, no one's gonna love me again.
Exactly.
To really just notice
I'm not lovable.
And say the opposite back to yourself. Like, I am worthy, I am good enough, I do deserve love. I will be loved again. And just, even if you don't believe it, just like take back the power from those like voices, you know? I think, again, easier said than done, but I definitely think,
well, I guess recognizing that it's a voice in your head and that it's not the truth.
Yeah, so true.
I think that's probably the moment. 100%. The moment I kind of wake up to the fact, oh, this is that voice, then I can say, just because you're saying that, it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, and I don't have to listen.
Yes, and just because this relationship didn't work out, it doesn't mean that I didn't work out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Preach. How to deal with two of your friends breaking up and causing a divide with the group.
So relevant, and this can go for every age. Every age. I guess as a group you have two options. One is, we're not gonna tolerate this. You guys don't have to be friends, but you can't split us as a group. So you are going to need to learn how to be together. The other option is really coming back to that place that relationships and life constantly change. We're constantly in movement. We can't hold on. We can't leave things the same and, not let them move and somehow trust that people can fall out and people can move away, and then that has to be okay. And for that to inform the next stage for everyone. So, change in movement could be painful and challenging, but it can also be a sign of growth.
How can I heal without closure? We broke up months ago and haven't talked since.
Well, I guess, the relationship has changed and it's become an internal relationship. So you're starting to make friends with that. And you could journal.
My God, guys. Journal. Like, that's literally what got me through all my breakups.
Right.
No, truly. Like, and not to get too, personal, but wait, why am I saying that? I'm sorry. literally, felt my whole life. But I remember in my breakups, I had a period of, it was that thing of when you're adjusting to not having that person in your life, and you almost always want to reach out to them and let them, I don't know, just touch base and stay connected. And I remember just realizing that that was just not healthy anymore, and I needed to really just give them space and them to give me space. And so I started just the messages that I wanted to send them and like text them or tell them, I would just journal.
Yes.
And I looked through my journal the other day, and there was so many journals where I was literally like, it was just like a letter, so many letters to my exes.
Yes.
Going through the breakup, and looking back, I'm like, I'm so happy I didn't send that, because it wouldn't have really benefited anyone.
Right.
But I had to get it out of me and find that closure within myself.
And when you want to reach out, it's a little bit like an addiction, you know.
It
it's
is.
like you just like there's a part of you that's so tempted to just send that text and make that connection and get that feeling in your brain. But then if you put someone else in the driver's seat, you know, maybe a more mature part of yourself that actually knows that it's in the highest best interest of both of you to actually give each other a bit of space so you can adjust and you know, cut the ties loose.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest part, I think, is cutting the ties loose for a lot of people.
Do you say that?
Like,
cutting the ties loose? I just made that up.
Mom, it doesn't matter.
No, I just need to know. No. Cutting the ties loose. To end personal professional relationship or something.
Yeah, we got it.
And ties? Yeah, we can say that.
I think that's a really big thing for people, is like really letting someone go. Like when you stop messaging someone, for instance, it's really like allowing them almost to move on without you, like, and you not be. I think sometimes the continuous communication can make you feel like there's still that thing there, and you're still connected. And it's like, I think for me, I experienced like that feeling of like, oh, if I stop messaging them, if we're not talking anymore, then we're really letting each other go.
Right.
And that's the scary part in a breakup a lot of the time. But that's where you really have to, like listen to that mature, deeper part of you that's like, this is good for both of us and we need to let each other go. And it is painful and they might move on, and that is good. We need it.
Yes.
But it's not easy. How do you go from telling one person all the little details of your day to not doing this? That is also like one of the most like huge things I feel like so many people notice. Like one of the first things they have, the feelings they have when after they break up, is like, how do I go from like literally having a person that I share my life with to just not having them there?
Right.
Like it suddenly feels like such a hole.
Void. Yeah. That's massive, and that's it. That's the loss. That's the grief. That's when it hits you, and that's a place that you can't avoid. You can just distract yourself. You could
fill it up with
other things. Exactly. But you know, there is no way around it. There is a hole that person left.
Yeah. I think for me, I love communicating, and I love sharing my life. Clearly, I have a YouTube channel. So I think something about journaling really helped me to be able to let it out somewhere else.
Right. And also, you know, sometimes if journaling is not your thing, any form of expression, it could be through art. I have a really good friend that's a dancer, and she, when she broke up with her partner at the time, she danced like hours every day, and she actually, like, she became so good that it ended up being her profession. But she was dancing her grief.
Yeah.
She was dancing her anger. She was dancing her frustration. She was dancing her fears, and she was dancing her yearnings. And so, you know, we can express that. It's about moving that energy through,
Yeah.
and over again, and not judging yourself for it taking too long.
There is a reason why there is so many breakup songs, and there is so many poems, and there is so many, like, you know, artworks and films about breakups and heartbreak and love, because that is our way to heal, honestly.
Yes.
Like, it's helped me heal so much.
Yes.
Coping with being the one who lost feelings and hurt the partner.
Yes.
That's such a big one. I'm saying that about all of them. That is so big.
Yeah, I think many times we are very compassionate to the person that is hurting, and the person that feels like the underdog, you know, the person that's been left. But it's just as equally significant for the person that actually had to sense into the fact that something's over, and that actually the relationship needs to change and to move on. You've actually done a great service for yourself, for staying true to yourself, and for also being truthful with the other person. And although you may have hurt their feelings momentarily, and that's the last thing you would choose to do, you did not do this to them.
Yeah.
You were true to yourself, and you have to, in a way, rest in that knowing.
Both my, like, big breakups, I was, I guess, technically the one to break it off, but it felt so painful.
Yes.
So painful. And a lot of times, if you're the one to break it off, that doesn't necessarily mean your feelings for the person had ended or that you wanted to end. A lot of times, sometimes they've in a way ended it, but you're the one that has to choose to end it in a way. Like, there's so many things that can happen. And I think growing up, I just saw so many movies where it was like, you know, if you were the one to get broken up with, then you'd be so upset. But if you were the one to break it off, then you were happy and good, and you just didn't want that relationship, so you get it over really fast. But
the reality is that you're also hurting.
Yeah, you're going through the breakup as well.
Even though you knew that this relationship had to end, it doesn't mean that there isn't a part of you that's also mourning it.
Exactly.
And grieving the loss. And sometimes it takes a bit longer for you to actually access those feelings.
Yeah, completely. If a relationship didn't last long, is it normal for the healing process to take a long time?
Yeah, the length of the relationship doesn't talk about its significance.
No, not at all.
And the meaning it holds for you.
Yeah.
The closeness, you know, how deep that person touched you. So, yes, it's completely normal.
Yeah, completely normal.
I
know. How to deal with extreme fear of breakup. It makes my relationship so much harder.
The fear of breakup is a real thing. We get really attached to our partners. And it's very similar to the original attachment that we had to our caregivers, to our parents, to our mother, where the attachment was actually a survival mechanism. So the attachment is actually coded in our nervous system as a survival. And that fear is really our brain translating that original attachment and transferring it to this one. So it's really about recognizing that we all experience that to different affects, and realizing, you know, what it is that you need in order to feel safe. So you can actually move from this acute sense of fear to a more relaxed place. So maybe it's a good thing to start having a conversation with your partner. Maybe it's a good idea to actually access some professional perspective, just to air it out and to understand where this stems from and what's the part here that is about you, and what's the part here that you can actually bring into the relationship and actually ask for what you need in order to feel safer.
Yeah. I don't want him back. I'm in a new happy relationship, but I can't get him off my mind. Help.
Yeah. You know, you remember, I think one of your breakup we did this, you know, and it's interesting, but it's like you kind of use your imagination, because when we get together with someone, it's like we connect. It's like we put chords in the other person, so there are chords that connect us. So why don't you, every time you involuntarily think about that person, you take a moment, you close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and you imagine yourself pulling the cord from them and attaching it back to you. And then you do that as many times as you need. You just take back the cords and you plug them back into yourself.
I would like to know if it's bad to keep talking to your ex and if it's detrimental to moving on.
It can be like an addiction.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're addicted to those hormones of oxytocin and dopamine that come through connection.
Yeah.
So we just want a hit of that. So we keep on reaching for that, even though it's already starting to harm us.
Yeah, I think there's a part in us, like maybe connected to our ego, that really wants to know that we made an impact.
Yes.
And that someone cares about us. And, you know, with a breakup, it's like it gets to a point where it's like they don't even have to care about you or be impacted by you in a good way, but just as long as they still remember you.
Exactly.
And that's, I think, where we get
true.
so addicted to, like, continuing to reach out and not letting them go, because the thought of them forgetting you and not being impacted by your presence is so painful.
I know, it's the death of the ego.
Yeah, it is the death of the ego.
Exactly. That's such a good point.
Thanks. My mom's a couple therapist.
Nah, this is all you.
Would a pause be something to consider, or is the relationship already doomed? So, like, going on a break instead of a breakup.
Yeah, and I think that could be a good idea. You know, try it on, and decide on, you know, agree in advance. What does it mean? You know, what are the terms? Are we still committed not to get involved with anyone else, or are we opening ourselves to other relationships? Just get really, really clear about that. And getting really clear about what do we do if we want to change that agreement. So you're still keeping the relationship in integrity.
Yeah.
But you're also allowing yourself to try on how it feels to be without that person and what's actually coming up for you. And there's no right or wrong.
Completely. But I think that is a really big thing, is if you are going on a break, being really clear on what that means and what the agreement is for you both, because you could have two different ideas and then that could lead to something happening that could change and taint the possibility for you guys to come back together.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Friends in the episode with Ross and Rachel. Like, there was that whole season where they go on a break and then he sleeps with someone else and she's like, what the hell? And he's like, we were on a break. Anyway, that's just like a classic example of, like, just I'm sorry, I'm referencing Friends for no reason, but it's like you really do need to think about making those, you know, you don't have to sign something, but really just communicate it.
Yeah.
And it can seem over the top and it can feel uncomfortable to be like, okay, especially if you're in a relationship with someone, the thought of even bringing up sometimes, are we sleeping with other people or not in this time, is so scary, because you don't want to upset the other person. But if you don't talk about it, then you just don't know, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, trying out a break is also sometimes can actually bring a lot of life into the relationship. If we go on that break, we connect with ourselves again, you know, who we are as individuals, and then we come back to the relationship stronger. We actually come back in the relationship through choosing it and not only through inertia, and that actually gives the relationship a lot of strength. So it is actually something that could possibly work if you guys can communicate.
What to do when a friend won't break up with someone who doesn't treat them right? That can be so hard, to watch someone you love and know deserves more get treated not right.
Yeah, that's really tough.
It's tough.
The thing is that we can't see for other people.
No.
We can't see, they can't see before they're ready to see.
Yeah.
So all you could do as a friend is make sure that you do communicate honestly and kindly what you see, and then let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go and know that you're there for them when they're ready.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be sooner than later.
Just be that support for them to fall back on when they're ready.
And sometimes it can be so unbearable that you actually need to step back.
Yeah.
And they will need to deal with the fact that you're actually stepping back.
Yeah. So true.
Still, they might just need their time.
Yeah.
There's sometimes things for them to go through that you don't know about and that are deeper for them, even though they're painful.
Yeah. How to support a friend going through a breakup.
When you go through a breakup, you really need your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really need to have someone that can hold you in the acute moment, when you realize that it's over. And sometimes that could be experienced like, the earth has just kind of cracked open and swallowed you in it, and you're just flooded in so much grief and in so much pain. And you just need someone to just be there, not fix it, not make it go away, but just hold still for you and just acknowledge how painful it is, and just let you know that they're there for you.
Yeah.
So that's in the acute stage. And I think after that, it's really about checking in with your friend and asking them, how are you going in relation to, the breakup? Because your friend, it's a process, this doesn't go away. We talked about it. It can sometimes take years. And it sometimes makes you feel very lonely when it becomes a topic that, people are already tired to hear about. And so it's very kind to check in. It's very kind to just say, how are you going with that? Is it still painful? Are you still feeling it? And just holding space, being patience, I think, is really patience, holding space, holding still, just letting someone know that you're there.
Yeah.
And also going back to that question about, losing your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth, just reminding the person, what an amazing person they are, and what a gift they are for the right person.
Yes.
And just kind of bringing them back to their power. Because we forget, when we go through a breakup and we're in all that pain, we do feel unlovable, and we do feel broken, and we do feel so wounded, and it's sometimes
having that friend to be there and
just
tell you that you're not
exactly.
It's just so important. Yeah.
It's like, remind your friend how powerful they are.
Yeah. How can I trust myself on my decision to break up with someone I used to really love? Because there is always that doubt. Am I doing the right decision? Am I quitting too fast? Is it still good? Is it something to do with me?
Like anything that you ask in your gut, you just need to learn how your intuition speaks to you. And sometimes it can speak very, in a very delicate way. And following your intuition and learning to follow it is actually a real gift.
I have this one memory of me like crying in the bathtub and telling you, and I was like, I just knew. I was like, it just doesn't feel right, but I still love him.
Right.
And I don't know. And I remember you just kind of saying like, you know, I think you know.
Absolutely.
And it was just having that person tell me like, that voice inside you, that deep voice that's underneath everything else that actually knows, just listen to that voice. And it was almost like I didn't want to listen to that voice because it meant it was the end.
Yeah.
So I was trying to I was listening to every other voice but then that voice underneath was like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's
done. Like our mind can have a split.
Yeah.
And we can feel, part of me feels this way, part of me feels that way.
Yeah.
But the deeper part of us has a knowing.
Yeah.
And when you access that and how that feels like to get that kind of communication, you have a real gift.
And it takes courage to act upon that, but
It does. But if you betray that voice, then it will become louder and louder and louder.
Yeah. What should I ask myself when considering a breakup?
Am I still growing in the relationship? Am I still who I want to be in the relationship? Do I like myself in this relationship? Is this relationship limiting me? Am I feeling trapped? Why am I in the relationship? What are the reasons? Is it fear?
Yeah, wow. I feel like those questions was a good place to end it on. I feel like our videos are very like podcasty kind of, just chit chats, but a lot of you guys say you like them, which we are so grateful that you guys like hearing our voices. So let us know if you want another video from us, because we did have some people saying that maybe we should do an advice video on more so new relationships and like new loves and entering into relationships, because there's a lot that goes into that as well. So let us know if you have any recommendations, what kind of videos you want to see from us, if you want to see videos from us. We'd love to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram. Mom has an Instagram as well. Wait, go this way and then I'll put it here. Follow Mom on Instagram. We will see you all very soon. Bye. Hope your broken hearts heal and you find new love in yourself and then someone else.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.